won't be reading it. You can say it kind of is more natural. It comes from you. Are you comfortable with your question? Yes? Not really? You're comfortable? Let's see here. What about you? Go somewhere else. Yeah, Venkatesha just have to make our dharma. You want to share with someone else? Yeah? Is somebody else comfortable with this question? Sound. Okay. Let's see. She's not comfortable. No, I just don't understand. Doesn't understand. Yeah. Is that? Let me tell. It's past 9:30. He's waiting for light. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Dvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you all so much for joining us on this frigid morning here in Toronto. I'm very, very happy that you all have made the time for a very, very illustrious guest that we have here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Suresh Govind, who will be our special speaker here today. Dr. Suresh Govind is a professor and former head of the Department of Parasitology at the Faculty of Medicine, the University of Malaya. He has written several chapters and publications by the World Health Organization and supervised more than 100 elective diploma, graduate, and postgraduate students, including at the doctorate level. He is a recipient of many honorable awards, including the prestigious Malaysian Torre Science Award. Dr. Suresh Govind has been serving in the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization, or the SSSIO, for more than 3 decades in various positions, including the National Council President of Malaysia. Dr. Suresh Govind also serves as the chairman of the Sri Sathya Sai Scriptural Studies Committee of the SSSIO and leads the Sai 100 program, which has picked up momentum in several countries. With that, Brother Suresh, thank you so much for being here, and please join me, all of you, in welcoming Brother Suresh.
Sai Ram, brother, by the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagwan Baba, We are here for this satsang on how to be successful and happy living with the Bhagavad Gita. I'm so extremely happy and really honored to be addressing the SSC students of Canada. I really like. I was there some weeks back. I think months back I was there. I'm so happy to always see the familiar center and be with you all this morning. So what we want to do is also thank the teachers for giving me this unique honor of introducing the Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual text that comprises of Krishna's 574 verses, Arjuna's 84 verses, Dhritarashtra's 1 verse, and Sanjay's 41 verses. All these are within the framework of the Bhagavad Gita. The celestial song, which is the summary, a condensation of all the more than 1,000 Upanishads found in the four Vedas. So Krishna must have known that we may not have the time to read all the Upanishads, so he condensed it, and there you are in the Bhagavad Gita. The essence of what life is. It's the most beautiful text, and the teachers are going to introduce to you some of the more important slokas in the Gita in the coming months that you have. And today's session is only about the introduction. So just the dramatic setting of this is that the war is about to start between the Pandavas, which are the good guys, and the Kauravas. And so this is the army now. On both sides, this is the army. One side is the Pandavas, one side is the Kauravas, and Krishna is the charioteer. And Arjuna is now riding. Krishna is there. Arjuna is now in the chariot, and they came right in the middle. And suddenly, Arjuna saw this whole number of soldiers there, huge miles of all the army was standing in front of him. And then Arjuna started to wonder, and he looked at him, and there his teacher, the teacher who taught him how to fight, is standing in front. His relations were there, his uncles were there. And suddenly, in this modern day language, you will say he suffered a panic attack. So he panic attack, and he lost the reasons as to why he should be fighting. What is the need to fight? And so the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is all about narrating his peril, his discomfort. He suddenly became anguish, and he became weak, and he became extremely hopeless, helpless, and fell at the feet of the teacher in the beginning of the second chapter. So this is the setting, the dramatic setting in which the Krishna takes the opportunity to revive him through the 18 chapters. So why is this book, written thousands of years ago, relevant today in this modern day world? And that's what my subject is all about. How can it become relevant? And how can it become the most incredible text for today's world, in living today, in meeting the challenges today, and how are we to meet them? You see, this is a nice one. First, I was dying to finish high school and start college. And then I was dying to finish college and start working. And then I was dying to marry and I have children. And then I was dying for my children to grow old enough for school so I could return to work. And then I was dying to retire. And now I am dying, and suddenly I realize I forgot to live. So for the whole purpose of the Gita is to teach people how to live in this world, how to live brilliantly, how to live beautifully, and how to live by maximizing the potentials to live in this world. This is the essence of the Gita. So this is a very nice one. If you look at it, it's the guy says water 9 kilometers is on the left hand side. On the right hand side is just H2O, and H2O is just about 50 meters. 50 meters is very short. You can actually reach water, and this is a desert. He can reach water, but because he doesn't know what H2O stands for, and he only understands water, he decides to take water 9 kilometers and walk opposite ways. Therefore, my dear friends, knowledge is power. The more you learn, the better you will be able to make decisions about the directions of your life. This, in essence, is what the Gita gives. In a desert, what you really need in your life is a compass. If you have a compass, you need not be lost anymore in the jungle. You can always find your way back. But you need to know what the knowledge is. Just by having the book will not be of use. Some people have got lots of spiritual books inside their house, but they don't read. Some people have a lot of recipe books, beautiful recipe books, but unfortunately, you don't go to the kitchen to cook. Then what use is of that recipe book? So therefore, the whole idea is to use the knowledge for the purposes of understanding the direction of your life. So look at this. This is one. The dogs are all lining up for food. And look at bottom picture, you see. Very interestingly, everybody rushing, everybody running. So life has become extremely hectic. And sometimes we do not exercise discipline. And when you don't exercise discipline, you won't achieve much. And then suddenly we depend too much on technology. You can't park in the handicap zone just because you've lost your phone. You see, this guy is feeling handicapped because he lost his phone. We depend so much on technology. Sometimes we get connected to technology that we get disconnected with ourselves. That and alone will enable us to have so many problems and so many difficult challenges. So sometimes we now feel lost. We are confused. We are unsure. We are unclear. We are perplexed. We're disorientated. So this is how we are sometimes in our life, simply because the challenges are coming to us. Sometimes we can feel at some point we're lost, we're confused, we're not sure. So what do we do at these moments of life? And this is a very nice day. Iron cannot be destroyed by anything except by iron rust. In fact, the saying goes, we ourselves destroy our lives. We ourselves make it successful. So whether we reach the top of the mountain of success or really go down, all depends upon the mind of ours, the intelligence that we use. So it's all the equipments are within us, but we need to sharpen the equipments. We need to make sure that we are able to utilize it for the purposes of it. And this then, therefore, is the greatest disease of the world, dear children. That we find that we will be disconnected. See, we find connected, the bridges comes together, but we're not. We feel at some point we get disconnected. So the Bhagavad Gita helps us to connect back to us. And the whole idea is that we have got these equipments with us. And this is something very important. We have got body. All of us have got body. And all of us have got mind. And all of us have got intellect. So these three. And most of the time, we continue living in this world with body, mind, and intellect. Continue. But the most important thing is that we have got the spirit, which is the Atma. So the whole idea of the Bhagavad Gita is to teach us how to utilize the body, how to utilize the mind, how to utilize the intellect and transcend and experience the Atma, which is the most beautiful thing that we'll experience. So dear children, you'll find that all of us, we have this big, huge reservoir, a treasure. We can actually go and tap this treasure. Once we know how to tap this treasure, we'll be able to use it in our life. Now, let me quickly give you, and the real reason why you need to read the Gita and I appreciate is because the Gita teaches us about ourselves. Now, you know the Titanic ship, I don't know whether you have seen the movie Titanic. The ship, if you know, the ship will hit the ice, and the ship sinks. And the real reason why the ship sinks is because right below the iceberg, right below the whole iceberg is where 75% of the iceberg is right below. But the captain of the ship only saw the top of the iceberg. But the bottom of the iceberg, we cannot see. And this is really our own nature, our mind. Right at the top is our conscious mind. And right at the bottom is our subconscious mind. So there is so much of potentials and so much hidden within us. We don't know. We have not seen. We have not experienced it. By reading the Bhagavad Gita and by the Gita slokas, when it keeps on introducing one by one, we start to know ourselves better. We'll start to explore within. There's a beautiful self there waiting to blossom. So the Gita reading and the teachers, when they introduce each part of it, will enable us to understand and appreciate the different dimensions of our life. You'll know more and more about ourselves. And this is what this whole iceberg tells us, that there's so much within us and we still know how to come together. So I asked this guy, he was sawing this wood, sawing from morning, started his work at 9 o'clock, and then I come back to the room at 10 o'clock, I come back to the room at 11 o'clock. He keeps on sawing. And then I asked him, hey, why are you spending so much time sawing the wood? Why don't you go and sharpen the saw? And he tells me, I just don't have the time. So he keeps sawing the wood because he keeps on sawing the wood for the whole day. But only if he just knew that he can just go and sharpen the saw, he will be able to cut it in a short while. And this, my dear friends, is the failure of ourselves, because the Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to sharpen your tools. It makes us the various equipments, various faculties in us to sharpen. Therefore, when you study, you don't really need to study for such a long length of time. When you study short, you study it with concentration, you're able to absorb, and you'll be able to bring it out when the right time comes. But we need to know how to focus, how to concentrate. This is what is meant by sharpening your tools. So the Gita becomes very relevant in this modern day time because you don't have the time. But if you know how to concentrate, how to focus, you can use the time to do so many things. And therefore, by the time your school life finishes, by the time you reach your working life, you'll be able to pack so many experience inside you because you took the time and the trouble to sharpen your tools. And that is what Bhagavad Gita teaches you. One more thing the Gita does is that while the teachers give you the sloka, you know what's going to happen is you're going to take off all the unwanted parts of your system. I don't need this, I don't need this. So when you keep on taking out the unwanted parts, and suddenly comes out the most beautiful statue. So this is what Gita does. That means the excellence part of your life will come out. The more beautiful part of your life will come out. And my dear friends, this is the real reason why we become fantastic, why we become useful, why we become practical. You'll be really amazing. In your country, and not in Canada, sorry, in America, Rockefeller Foundation, I think you must have heard of this amazing person. At the age of 50 something, he was the richest man in the whole of USA at that time, richest man. And he had 90% of all the oil and gas companies in America. He was having that. And then at that age, when he was really, really, really well to do, you know what he did? He suddenly became very sick. So in the hospital, it was really a defying moment, and so all systems were failing, and he was almost dying. It was at that point of time he said, I had so much of wealth. What would I do with this? So much of wealth. And it is at that he had a calling. And he said that, okay, I will give all my wealth for charity. I give my wealth. So he created Rockefeller Foundation, and he started giving so much of money to other people for good things. And you know something? That giving itself gave him a lot of happiness and joy. And as a result, he lived until late 80s and 90s. So what's the secret of life? The secret of life is to give. So the more and more you give, the more and more happiness you get. And this is what the Gita teaches. How to be happy, how to be joyous, how to live. This is the successful model. And therefore, the selfishness, we take it out. The attachment, we take it out. The one that makes us angry, we take it out. All these unwanted things, we take it out. We get a beautiful, wonderful statue of bliss and happiness. Therefore, in life, you'll find that we have many things in life. You see, we have our family. So this is the Swadharma. When you are doing Bhagavad Gita, when you study the Gita more and more, you know what will happen? You'll have an understanding of your dharma. You'll have an understanding of your role. So you'll find that, yes, I have my mother, I have my parents. My dharma is to respect my parents, love my parents. I can, if I have time, I'll tell you more stories about this, but I need to finish this, so maybe I'll come back when someone asks me time. But loving parents is a very critical component, and loving and respecting them. And your home, you become a very nice, beautiful person at home. You love your teachers, and then you love your colleagues. You love the people. You honor your commitments. And more importantly, you love all your people. And this, therefore, is the Swadharma. Gita teaches the Swadharma. Why? Because man is the crown of creation. So therefore, Gita teaches that you must play your role well. Now, let me explain this to you. At the top of the ocean is where you find the waves are coming. And dear friends, listen to this very carefully, dear children. If you're swimming on top of the ocean, you'll be waves will come, waves will hit you, and you'll have pain, you'll be lashed, you'll be thrashed, you'll be turned. Oh, today I'm moody, or tomorrow I'm getting angry, or day after tomorrow I'm helpless, because you are at the top of the ocean. So what does Gita teach you? When you have the Gita understanding and the knowledge of the Gita, from the top of the ocean, you slowly come down to the bottom of the seabed. At the seabed is calm. At the seabed, there's no waves. When you are at the seabed, this is the student with Gita knowledge. It is at the seabed that you will become a seed of creativity, innovation, and so on. When you are at the seabed, you'll experience peace and bliss, and you'll look up and you'll see the waves at the top of the ocean, but you will not feel the ruffle, you will not feel agitated, you will not feel restless. Gita takes you to experience the deeper experience of peace and bliss. That is the secret of how the Gita, Bhagavad Gita takes you. It's one of the most amazing discovery of yourself. Now, watch this. You have a drone, and this guy is now managing the drone. And the drone is flying high. So he knows how to manage the drone. He takes him there. But even to manage a drone, before this guy actually puts it up in the air, he has a manual. He reads this manual. He understands how to put the drone inside, how to make it fly. By understanding fully how the manual works, then he can fly the drone, and the drone flies. See, if he doesn't have the knowledge, how will the drone fly? The drone will be on the ground. It will not ever get up. In the same way, the textbook of the Gita is teaching us as a manual on how to make it fly, how to make us fly. So, but you must read the Gita in order to operate. Even a toy, you need have a manual. Drones have manual. Board games have manual. Then how in this world that we are living in, how come we don't have a manual? So the rishis and the great masters prescribed the ways and means in how we should live, and put it all in the nice, beautiful book, and gave us this beautiful lesson out of compassion. But you have to make a decision. Today is the time for you to make a decision. Don't take it like, oh, class, I have to come to Gita. I just have to learn just for this class. Don't do that. You must have a reverential attitude, which means to say you must make a decision. Look at this. This is eagle. The eagle has the longest lifespan of its species, the eagle, and it can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, the eagle must make a hard decision in its 40s. So what happens is that the eagle has got long and flexible talons, but it can no longer grab the prey which serves as food. You know why? Because the talons are long. So when let's say a rabbit is running, so when the eagle is coming, he can't hold the rabbit because the talons are long. So then it starts to starve. It has no more food. It is at this point the eagle is left with only two options. A, should I die or go through a painful process of change which lasts 150 days? So it must now decide, should I die or should I live? Once it decides to live, the eagle goes up to the mountain and sits on its nest. Can you imagine? This is eagle doing, And then you know what the eagle does? It will be there, and the eagle will take his beak and knock against the rock. And when it knocks against the rock, the eagle will start bleeding here. It will start bleeding, and it'll start, it'll take many months many days for it to come, develop a new beak. And then he uses the new beak to now peck on the talons. And then slowly the talons all will drop, and new talons are taken, have come forward. For this entire transition, it takes 5 months. The eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for 30 more years. This eagle does. Why? Because it wants to live. 30 years, 30 more years it lives, because it makes the decision, I want to change. I want to be a new person. I want to be inspiring. I want to live for a bigger thing. So therefore, the eagle changes. Let me ask you a question. I'm sure you must have seen movies in Canada. I'm sure you go for theater. The actors are very good. Direction is fantastic. The songs are there. The actors and actresses wear nice costumes. There's beautiful songs. Location is good. Photography is good. And yet, with all this, the movie fails. Why is the reason why the movie fails? They put so much of money. The location shooting is good. Everything is fantastic. And yet the movie flops. So why does the movie flop? I can ask you, and maybe you can answer, but I don't know whether when you answer, I can hear. I don't think so, because I think you need a mic. But let me ask you this question. Do you know why the movie fails? You can put up your hand. I can see if anyone puts up your hand, I can see. Anybody? Why does a movie fail? Brother, can they answer?
Yeah. Can you hear us, Iram brother?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I think a reason why the movie failed is probably because one, they didn't cooperate with each other, and two, probably the script.
Fantastic. Script means story. So you see, I can have so many things in the movie, but the moment a story is not connecting, story is not good, the whole movie becomes a flop. They can spend in India and so many crores of dollars, yet the movie fails because the story is not good. So now, my dear friends, if a story is not good, whatever I do, it fails. This is the moral of the story. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that if such a case is for the movie, then in my life, shouldn't my story be good? Shouldn't your story be good? Shouldn't your story be inspiring? If your story is inspiring and good and incredible, everything else is good. You don't have to worry. So the key thing is not to focus on the costumes and everything else. Focus on the story. If you have a beautiful, wonderful story, we got a hit for us. And to make that script more powerful, you need the Bhagavad Gita to make that story powerful. Because the Gita polishes up each component of the human personality, so our way of executing our actions will become more powerful. So the eagle does that. Now in chapter 1, it is stated yoga of the despondency of Arjuna. This is the chapter 1, where Arjuna's despondency. I just talked to you when I began this session, I talked to you about this. And then you can safely say, I'm not going to fight a war. I'm not ever going into a battle. What is this war thing got to do with me? I'm not going to do this. So why are you teaching me about war and fighting and Arjuna? And it's not relevant to me. Now comes the best part. In this particular chapter, in which Arjuna is now facing helplessness, is experiencing helplessness, hopelessness. He doesn't know how to fight the battle. This is what we experience every day in our life, not in this kind of battle, but in different situations. For example, this is a person, examination is coming, as he didn't prepare his exams well, so exam is just around the corner, and now his time is short, he's panicky, he don't know what to do. I feel despondent, I feel helpless, I feel hopeless. So what do I do at this point of time? You see, this is the same I experience. I not in this battle, but I have my own battles. So the examination is a good example of this. Another example will be, oh, I'm going for interview. I'm not sure what they will ask me. I hope they will ask me the right question. I feel very, very nervous, and I have to get this job because the money is very important, the position is very important. So I'm panicky. So when I'm panicky, I'm not sure what to answer, how to face the challenge. I'm now despondent, isn't it? And look at this. So in life, got many choices. Which career should I take? Some say this career is good. Some say that one is good. Some say I must take this course. I'm so confused. I'm despondent now. I do not know what to do. I'm at this moment. I feel like I'm Arjuna when I have this problem. And then of course I'm at crossroad. So sometimes in decision making, I don't know whether to go here or whether to go there. I'm despondent. If I follow my friends, I will go maybe into bad habit. But if I don't follow them, I will lose my friends. So what should I do? Should I lose my friends or should I retain my habit? Decision making. At this moment, how do I make my decision? And then also parents is asking me to do something. I'm not too keen to do the same thing, but they seem to be forcing me. It's like that. So this tension in my head, at this moment, I feel like Arjuna. You see, the same chapter 1, I can relate to many, many circumstances and situations in my life, except that in this chapter is about the war which Arjuna faced. So Arjuna's emotions, Arjuna's situation is the same like us facing the battles in our life every other day in our life. Every moment, in fact, we face it. And the fact that we don't know how to face it is why 22nd of June 2022, WHO declared that out of 8 billion people, 1 billion people have got mental disorders, mental issues. 1 billion out of 8. Can you imagine? That is the number. So why people cannot control the thoughts, cannot imagine, they feel despondent. So these are the issues of the chapter 1 that Arjuna experiences. That's why this Gita is relevant. He's talking, it is such an eternal book that even for the next 1,000 years, it'll be still relevant because this is what it is. So Baba summarizes, Swami Bhagavan, Baba summarizes this. The first word, first in the Bhagavad Gita, first one is Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, he talks like that. So the first word is Dharma. And the last word in the Gita is Mama. So Bhagavan says, it is about Mama Dharma, which means my Dharma. Wow. Bhagavan, why did you emphasize that that means Mama Dharma means my Dharma? Is Dharma so important? Then I start to think, yeah, Dharma is important. If you go to the hospital and the doctors are not doing their work, then how will the patient get cured? If the policeman is not stopping at the traffic lights, how will the traffic be not going through and you'll get a traffic jam? If people do not do it, parents do not know how to look after the children, then if the teachers do not know how to teach the children, if everybody loses their dharma, the whole cycle of the karma will become affected, isn't it? The whole life becomes different. Today, look at you all. You are sitting, all of you are sitting in one of the most fascinating halls in the world. In Satya Sai centers, there's no other Sai center so as beautiful as your Sai center. It's so big and so nice and so beautiful in an air-conditioned hall. You are sitting there. And who is teaching you? Dedicated teachers, selflessly dedicated teachers who are coming day and night, day and day, coming and teaching you. Are they getting any money out of this? No. Are they getting any fame? No. Are they getting any recognition? No. Why are they doing this? Only for the purposes that all of you becomes happy, successful people in the world outside. And they don't get anything else except the satisfaction that when you actually become happy and successful, that is the reward that they will get. So they are doing what? Their dharma. When that dharma is done, the wheel goes through, the wheel cycle of life goes on. And then you might come up and you might grow and then you might become inspired and then you will come back probably and also sacrifice and serve community, then the whole wheel continues. This is what Mama Dharma. That's why Swami said, if there's righteousness in the heart, there'll be beauty in the character. When there's beauty in the character, there'll be harmony at home. If there's harmony at home, there'll be order in the nation. And when there's order in the nation, there'll be peace in the world. So for the world to be peaceful, the first point is I need to have righteousness. And the righteousness is what? Mama Dharma, my Dharma. See, it starts from here. This is the basic thing in which, so when something is not going right, somebody somewhere has not done their Dharma. So this, the whole Gita is about putting this whole thing back again, Mama Dharma. So now you see, if that is the case, if righteousness is the important part, then you see when I do, then this is a nice way of doing that. If you look at it, you have the physical, mental, and intellectual. This is what you have. And each part they will teach you in the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. These are yogas for each part of the component, which the teachers will teach you how to increase each frequency. By continuously doing these Gita classes and by continuously happening, what's happening is you start to experience the Atma. You start to experience more and more peace. So you move to Atma. And you know what's going to happen? As a result of this, all these sessions will start going and you develop a certain element of consciousness, a higher level of awareness. It starts to, you become more and more aware. When you become more and more aware, you'll find that you'll have a certain attitude. The attitude becomes positive, and with attitude, you'll develop the right actions, and this will produce for you the results. So, my friends, if you're not getting results, you start studying hard, you're not getting results, or certain things are disappointing you, you want certain results, you look back at your action. If I look back at my action, what is my reason why my action is? Because of my attitude. So if my attitude is influenced by my consciousness. So just now, you chanted the bhajans just now, and when you're sitting and you're clapping hands and you're meditating, all that is to help you what? Increase awareness. When you keep on increasing awareness, you keep on increasing consciousness. When you keep on increasing consciousness, your attitude changes and you become a better person. And then that attitude influences the quality of action, which produces the results. Ooh. So the breakthrough answer, therefore, when people don't know this technology, we'll be working hard and hard and hard and so much of stress. But really speaking, all you need to do is increase your consciousness, increase awareness. And that is what the Gita tells you, making you become more and more aware. Once that awareness comes in, the consciousness. Once you come, you find attitude, you find no more. I'll give you a good example. For example, in your school, in your younger days, not now, in your younger days, many years ago, when you are, say, 2 years, 3 years, you may have fought with your sister or brother. You wanted a toy, and that your brother takes this toy, and no, I want this, you want that. So you keep on fighting. Then your father and mother comes, okay, settle your quarrel and listen, don't fight. I'll get you another one, and so you become better. But now when you're old now, group 3, group 4 children, then the same toy now is not appealing to you. You won't fight for the same toy. Why? Because your consciousness has grown. When your consciousness has grown higher, the same toy is no more affected, isn't it? It is the same way. What we do, we can increase the consciousness like this, attitude changes, action comes, results come. So this is what the Gita helps us to understand. Why is it that Gita is not talked to the dog about giraffe and rabbits and deer and all that? Why? Because Baba said, no living being except the human has been endowed with intelligence and discrimination to achieve and visualize the Atma. Wow, fantastic. So Gita is meant, why we study this is because only we have the capacity to experience the Atma. So this Atma, once we understand, we'll find great things. Now, let me show you something that's fantastic. Why is it that we have to be knowing all these things? Let me tell you. See this. I hope you can see this, okay? This is nice. This is a video. For water, so in the water, you pour abuse. This person is getting abused. This has got lack of love, insecurity, stress, loneliness. And so the water is now getting more, and this guy is drowning in all his problems. So he tries to have a spark, he keeps on lighting, cannot spark. He loses our spark and he's disappointed, he's sad, he's depressed. So what do we do? The one who has got the Gita, and we just need touch a little bit of that, boom, a little help, they can light up. Hey, so be kind. You don't know their story. Help someone today. My dear friend, this is the most amazing thing of Gita. Once I know a little bit of this knowledge and I practice this, if somebody else is also not well, or someone else is also, you know what happens? I can go and find, I can help that person. I can help that person and become a better person, or help the person to light, a spark his light. Once I can help, that's help ever, hurt never, love all, serve all. So when, hey, why are you sad? Why are you unhappy? I can ask someone else and help that individual to grow as well. So once you have this knowledge, you will be find that you are able to help other people to also grow and also become a better person, and like that. So this is nice. That video was a nice video showing the spark. This is a very nice way of showing that why we study in a group. When Gita classes, why we do in a group is because all of us, we need to help each other. You see, the motivation this guy is going through, 3 of them are walking through. So 2 of them are carrying the first person. And then this is why we pray. The second person now is carried. And then finally, the third person is carried. So all 3 people carrying this long piece of wood crosses each other because we help each other. So all of you are very, very important to come together to learn, to understand. And if someone is not knowing, so you also tell the other person, and this person also advises. So like that, we help each other. So by helping each other, we'll be able to move forward. So what Dharma teach? What Gita teaches? Swadharma. Swadharma means personal. So plus personal health, personal health, personal cleanliness, personal mind management, thought management, time management. So I have a lamp. So I'm now lit like this. So I'm now happy. I got blissful. I got feeling. I got joy. I can light up. I feel complete. Now slowly what happens? This light spreads. So in my family, I help my brothers, I help my sister, I help my family. So I am the light in my house. I feel so bubbly whenever I go into the, hi there, hi, how are you? How are you, ma? How are you? I am the source of joy for everybody. So I become happiness. I spread happiness to everyone. And so the happiness expands. And then when I go, I become a street lamp, from a house lamp to a street lamp. So the people in the street means society. I help others. I come to the community now, like you all, like now coming together in the center. I'm helping everybody together. And then from the street lamp, I slowly become a moonlight. From street light, I become a moonlight. So this moonlight means I now not only society, but others. As you keep on growing in your organization, in your office, in your university, in your college, I'm now carrying this light. and finally I give light to everybody. And finally, not only that, I become the light itself, the sunlight. I become sunlight. Then people start, I become the light and the reason for many blossoming to take place. You see the vision. That's why Baba said, my life is my message, expansion is my life. Expansion means expand my consciousness. So this expansion of consciousness is what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us to do. So we can easily be distracted. Today's resolution can wane with time. Whatever, maybe today you make some resolution, because of the fact that the distraction takes place and because of the cluttering, because the mind is so cluttered with so many different things that you notice nowadays children say, I want my me time. Have you seen some people telling, I want me time. I like to be, I need my safe space. It's not a safe space. It's simply because the mind is too cluttered, and so you're looking for space, but actually you need to unclutter the mind. What we call, you have to defragment your computer, take it out, you go through the whole reformatting and putting it back together. So the Gita helps you to reformat your mind, reformat it and make it in a very nice, beautiful way. That is the reason why you do this. And then if you keep on reading the Gita, we're teaching you about the Atma, talking to you about the Karma Yoga, Dharma, what do you call it, Jnana Yoga, and so on. You know what's going to happen? Your mind, the agitation of your mind will become lesser. Once the agitation of the mind becomes lesser and lesser, your ability to focus becomes much more. You know something? You can concentrate better. Actually, I challenge you, in 6 months' time, you can see, if you really focus on the Gita, your marks in school will go up. Why? Because your ability to concentrate will become, your school performance will become much better. Why? Because earlier you were not able to concentrate. Now with the Bhagavad Gita classes and the ability to, you find your concentration become laser focus. So you are able to focus, absorb, remember and recall and review, and then put it back again when people ask you. You're able to do that nicely, beautifully. Concentration will develop inside you as you keep on doing. And one more quality that you will develop as a result of this Gita, as you become conscious, you can have two types. They say your success in life is determined by who you are with. If you are just with parrots, your friends at this, then you will be just like that. But if you are with eagles, those who are inspiring people, so you attract successful people, you attract people who have better than you. So you start learning from them, you start emulating their example. So as a result of this, you'll find you'll grow like this in a better way. You'll find you blossom and you'll really flourish and you move in a better way. So therefore, Baba said, the urge to advance the progress of others. So when you get the Gita, you dedicate your wealth, you dedicate your skill, you dedicate your intelligence. Wow, you will be really a very powerful person, because now you're not thinking of yourself, you're thinking about friends, you're thinking about improving other people. This is what Swami said, when you keep on thinking about helping everybody else to do, then helps you. So Bhagavad Gita inspires you to start thinking about others. That's how, from Krishna's point, Arjuna's point, where he was not able to fight, I kept hopeless. He fell down, exhausted. 17 chapters, Arjuna was rehabilitated and given the right tools, right knowledge, right attitude, and suddenly he was a shining superstar in the battlefield and he was able to fight. So the whole thing about life is about not to give up, not to have perseverance, make sure that we reach the right at the top. So for that to happen, Gita teaches you that you should not have like this trap in the physical, always following senses. I want this, I want that. Whenever things look at me, you're so getting motivated or excited by other things. So you find that you're not physically trapped. And then you become emotionally trapped. That means, I don't know why I get angry very fast. I'm not sure why I'm moody. I'm not sure why I get agitated. That means your mind is trapped. Then you find that the intellectual trapping, always analyzing is good, but you find that, oh, is God there? Or show me whether God is there. You need to prove, and all the type of analysis. And you find that you're not able to cross the intellectual level as well. So when we keep on having these three, you'll find your experiences are very narrow. So therefore, what the Gita will teach you is that slowly you are able to understand these three and able to manage these three, then you become well. So when someone is irritating you, you know how to manage your anger. That's a human being. The dog cannot do that. If you step on the dog's tail, the dog will bite you. The dog will come. But we cannot do that because we are not dogs. So when we are getting angry, how do you manage that anger? How do you manage your mood? How do you manage your thoughts? When you start having this kind of thinking, my God, then you'll be very powerful, very supremely amazing, and you'll be really able to function very well. So the Gita reminds us of our inner treasure, and this is the biggest treasure. We have treasure inside us so much. You know what we do? We close the treasure and we sit on top of the treasure box and we are begging, oh, give me this, we are thinking we don't have it. But what Krishna is telling in the Gita is, when you open your treasure house, the atmic treasure that you have, there's so much of bliss and so much of confidence is inside us. So we don't need to find and no need to search for everything outside. With this, you'll be able to realize so many good things in life. So it's like a roadmap. Bhagavad Gita is like a roadmap, like a ways. When you're lost, you switch on. So it'll guide you, turn you, make you left, turn right, and finally reach the end goal, which is this Atmic realization. So why remember I started this with how to live happily and successfully. Successful people sometimes need not be happy, and sometimes happy people may not be successful. So the point is how to be successful and happy. And why is happiness so important? Here's a research study that shows. One study from 2008 showed that 171 students, when they did the study, they found out how if you're happy, you're able to produce more ideas. If you're happy, you will produce more creative and more innovation. So my dear friends, what I'm telling you is that if the Bhagavad Gita will teach one finally to become creative and innovative, so which will be very good for your school, which is very good for your discovery, for your scientific discovery, for your innovation. If you know how to become happy, you will know how to be creative. And this is what the whole subject is. Today, people forgot how to be happy. 364 days, you are unhappy. I come to your house and say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday. Why? Because you are unhappy. But the Gita teaches you how to be happy, and because of the happiness, you develop your creativity and innovations like that. My friends, you see this? This is a big aquarium. And can someone describe to me what is inside this aquarium? Can someone describe the aquarium to me? What do you see here? Anybody? Can see fishes?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's different kinds of fishes. Some of them are really small, and I think that's algae in the background.
Some more?
Yeah, I think
Anything else?
there's different pebbles on the ground. There's, I think like a water. There's water. Yeah, there's water falling at the back too, but it's also within the whole aquarium.
Fantastic. You see, you can see everything. You can see fishes, you can see but all this can only happen if you have water. So the point of the story is most of the time we see everything else, but we mention water about 4 or 5 things away from that, because eventually without water, all this cannot live. So the key thing is water. So in life, what we have, family, we have we have our school, we got exams, we can do everything we have. But if we don't have the water of happiness, then what use is of that? So ultimately, whatever you do in school, when like you are going to school, you must be happy. How many of you get up in the morning and say, God, thank you, God, for giving me another day? Or when the food is on the table, thank you, God, for giving me food. Or when you go to teacher, thank you, teacher, how are you? You're so happy. Every day in your life, you're so happy. Happiness is that water which you will live. And you know something? In the fish market, you see those fish markets, so many people are there. So many. But in a diamond shop, there's only 1 or 2. So in life, go for the highest, go for the diamond. So the Atma is the diamond. You'll only have very few people there. Why don't you be the few who go for the highest truth and the experience, the biggest, the best thing? Because there are a few people there. There's no competition. You'll find that in all of you will experience the highest bliss there. And that is why this meditation, this power of this peace and happiness will help. And this helps you Once you have this Atma and Gita teaches you this, you will get connected. You'll find that you will get connected to your family, you'll get connected to nature, you'll connected to the waterfalls, the sea, and you'll just get connected to everything. You feel so good and so peaceful. You know, I would like you to do today evening when you return back home. In your garden, there might be a flower. Just look at the flower, just stare at the flower and get connected to the flower and just be happy with that flower and just look at the flower and just enjoy the silence. Forget the music, forget the phone, forget TV, forget radio. You just look at the flower and just enjoy. You look at just imagine and look at the wonder of the flower and you'll enjoy a nice, beautiful feeling of connectivity. And this is the beautiful feeling of that. One more thing that Gita teaches is that you must be productive, but it teaches you how to get to the results. See, look at these two people. They worked very, very hard and brought the rails on one side. The other group of people brought the rails on the other side, and the rails did not connect. So what is the use? You spend days and days and months to work, but the train cannot use these rails. So work must be for end result. What is end result? Happiness. So if you're always happy, even when you're studying something that you don't like, Baba said, don't do what you like what you do. So whatever you do, like it, enjoy it. When you do like that, all this is what the Gita will teach you as they were prescribed. And it's understanding. Look, this doctor asked me to spend at least 1 hour per day on the treadmill. The guy is sleeping. So he misinterpreted the teaching. So that's why it is very important to understand what the teaching is and follow the teachings closely so that you don't misinterpret like this guy who's now taking it there. So the Baba said, don't do what you like what you do. And when you have the Gita and when you do it collectively, you are like an orchestra. Each person cannot do according. Like, for example, you are supposed to blow the trumpet at that point. That's how you should blow. So, but if everybody does it differently, then it is not music. It becomes noise. But when everybody understands the notes and read the manual well and do the work, the whole world is only experiencing music, melody. That is what the Gita does. Helps us all to get connected and to play the right music so that the whole world experiences peace and happiness. This is what the whole thing is about. I've come to I think I've spoken for an hour, right? I've finished my time. Maybe you like to, at this point, you may like to ask any questions. Brother, it's 1 hour, right?
What lesson does the Gita offer for leadership and teamwork?
But I think, didn't I say it? Okay, maybe this is a good question. Let me answer it this way. One of the things that Gita teaches, leadership, if you want leadership is about having the right perception. And we are controlled by perception. So this is a cat, but when the cat looks at the mirror, it looks like a lion, isn't it? So that in itself, so I don't look at my weakness. Whatever that I have, I reflect back power, I reflect back strength, I reflect back that we are controlled by perceptions. Now you look at this. Once you are a leader, then you find that a leader is governed by your perception. Life is also governed by your perception. Like the blind man touching the elephant, you'll find that the elephant can be defined by different ways. And the Gita changes the way you look at yourself. So if you look at 6, that guy says this is 9, you're looking at from both sides. 6 is right, 9 is right. But leadership is about understanding perspectives. So it's about managing people and managing people's perspective. And the Gita gives us the advice or gives us the knowledge that everybody is correct in their own way. And it gives us a very proper understanding of how life is all about. Therefore, this is a beautiful idea of what leadership can help us to achieve.
Saram, when did you get that realization that you should read the Gita? What made you read it?
Yeah, I will tell you simply because I think I mentioned this. When I was young, when I was doing my schooling days, when I was doing what they call A levels, I did very badly in my exam. I failed. Actually, I failed. So they told me to repeat this because I was in the science stream. And when I did my A levels again, I slightly had a little bit higher marks, but I never got any place in the university. So I was really lost. I did not have the right marks. I did not have the thing. I struggled, but it was very tough. So it was during that particular period in existence when I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any direction. I started getting involved. I started reading books. And one of the first books I read is the Mahabharata. So when I read that book, I was very inspired. And with Mahabharata, within the context of Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita comes out. That's when I got interested in the Gita and started reading. But I found many solutions in the Gita itself that gives ideas on how to change, how to get this confusion out. So it helped me greatly and it gave me a lot of direction. And as a result of understanding what it is, I overcame my own understanding and failures, and as a result, studied hard and became a professor in a university. So really, it was helpful. So it was really, really relevant at that point of time.
So you had mentioned that we should try to attract people who are better than us so we can better ourselves. What happens if there are other people who come to us? How do we deal with those people?
Yeah, so if you keep on practicing the Bhagavad Gita's teachings, come for bhajans, keep on doing meditation, keep on doing your yoga and all the other stuff, your body will produce a higher frequency of thinking, a higher vibration. And this higher vibration will guide you to select good friends that takes you to the right destination. So it will come naturally. In fact, the people who will be disturbing you or the people who distract you might not affect you anymore because you are increasing your frequency. And it is natural because you find that when you're interested in something, you will just keep on going and you yourself will not pay attention to the other people. I'll give you a good example. In the temple, the priest asked the person, "Why are you not coming to the temple anymore?" "Oh, I'm not going to come to this temple anymore because temple there's so much of noise and lot of unnecessary talking is going on, and there's so many disturbances. I refuse to come to the temple." So the priest went and gave this person one glass of water. The water was very full, and he said, "You go around the temple 3 times, holding the cup in your hand, but make sure the water doesn't slip." So he goes around 1 round, goes around 2nd round, goes around 3rd round, and comes back and gives the glass back to the priest. Then the priest asked, "What did you see? What did you feel?" He said, "No, I didn't sense anything. I didn't feel anything." "You didn't feel any noise?" "No noise." "Why?" "Because I was focusing on the glass to make sure the water doesn't spill off." So then the priest said, "You see, because your focus was on this, you never focused on all the other things in life. You didn't focus on the negativity of this place." So the positivity and the negativity is all in the mind. So if you keep continuously focusing on the positive, these things don't disturb you. These things will just naturally go away, and the people, or the right people, will be attracted to your life, which will help you to nourish and make you a rich experiential person.
Sarah Uncle, you mentioned earlier that you had a story about your parents and respecting and loving your parents.
Yeah. So if you remember, I told the story about how I failed, right? I did badly. So after that particular period, then I entered. One day I came back because I'm the eldest in the family, and my father wanted me to be a doctor, and I couldn't be, and my results were poor. So one day I came home. I opened the door, and I saw my father in tears. He was crying actually because he could not. I mean, I failed in the class, so I failed in my thing. So once I saw the tears in my father's eyes, I closed the door. I love my parents very much. So the moment I came back, I started to realize, what should I do? Then from that moment onwards, I took a resolution. Whatever happens, my parents are going to call me a doctor. So it is from then on, I studied like crazy. I studied hard. Only my inspiration was that I have to make my parents call me a doctor. So therefore, I finished my degree. I went and got into a college, did a diploma, did a degree. I went and got another diploma, and then got my master's. Then I went over to a very good university and got my scholarship. I got my PhD. and all that. So, and then finally on the convocation day, my parents came to the university, and then I walked very slowly to get my scroll, because then they asked me what happened. Is there something wrong with your legs? I said no. I wanted my parents to enjoy the moment. So then I took the scroll, and after the whole convocation was over, I went and placed it at my father's feet, my parents' feet, and did the Pada Namaskaram on them. And then I asked them, "Are you happy?" And then they were really crying out of real satisfaction, happiness. And I can tell you something: in this world, you can have millions and millions of dollars, but that tears of happiness that you create will never match anything. So what I'm trying to share with you is that, dear children, make your parents proud of you. Make your parents always the center of your life. You'll never go wrong. This is the Swadharma. The highest dharma is never bring tears of shame, tears of regret to your parents. They always must feel a sense of pride. Once you get this, you don't have to worry. You'll naturally bring God's blessings onto you. And that is how I think I got everything that I have, because I put this principle in my life. And as a result of that, I got all these things. Because you saw my results. I failed. I'm not a brilliant student. But I realized whatever said and done, because I had that ideal, I got everything else. God gave me back everything else in this way. So go for grace of God. So the whole idea of understanding the Gita is finally understanding that finally what is going to make you tick in this world is the grace of God. If you have that grace, nothing can touch you. You'll reach somewhere in your life if you have grace of God. So earn the grace. And Baba gave one very good formula. Baba said, grace is proportional to effort. So as long as I keep on exerting effort, I can keep on getting grace. And grace is what you really need in life. The right thing to study for the exam, the right course that you should take, the right university that you should apply for, the right job that you must have, the right next time, right spouse you must have in your life, right home. So many decisions to make. So when you have God as your pilot, you don't have to worry. Your flight will be very good. Make sense?
Saram sir, I have a question. So what's the best lesson taught by Krishna to Arjuna on collaboration and unity with each other?
On collaboration and?
Unity with each other.
Oh yeah. So one of the best lessons that you can find in the Krishna Arjuna thing is that when I look at it, the whole text is so beautiful. The whole teaching, you cannot say which part of the lesson is the most beautiful. Like you're asking me which part of the sugar cane is sweet. Because you bite any part of the sugar cane, it will be sweet. But for me, I think the best lesson I found was when Arjuna was down, when he was helpless, when he was hopeless, in that situation, who was there with Krishna? Nobody else. So who was there with Arjuna? Nobody else but Krishna. So, oh Lord, that faith, that beautiful friendship that Arjuna developed with Krishna, the beautiful kingship that they both developed. If I also develop like that, in whichever problems that I have, I also want to be like Arjuna. When I have the problem, you should be there with me, tell me how to go for it. That's all for me. At that moment in my life, that's out. And in fact, that is exactly what has happened in many experiences that I have. In fact, I can go on telling you. Even because I have PhD students with me, I have postdoc students with me, and they come to me for asking me problems and asking me. They're very complex problems, And so when they come to me, they ask me this. It is very beautiful to see how God comes and guides me to guide them. It gives me the right answer, gives me the right thing. And then most of the time they return back, and when they do their work in the lab, and they will come back with the right results, they'll publish papers, they'll get awards, and they'll finish their results very fast, and they'll graduate with doctorate. All this is only because just like I must feel that Swami is with me. Like that feeling must be strong wherever he's with me. So that is, for me, is the best lesson, the best thing. The relationship, my dear friends, how much knowledge you have, you can recite. That is why reciting, memorizing, reading and understanding, all that is fantastic, fine. I found out the breakthrough. The breakthrough is That is all good. Having the knowledge is good. But my dear friends, have the relationship. Like when you altar in your house, you go to the altar, you fall on the altar. What is that altar to you? Do you feel that there's a presence there? Or is it just a photograph there? That's all. If there's a photograph there, then it is a ritual. But if there's a presence there, and then you talk to the presence, you talk to God, oh God, tomorrow is this one, please help God. You have a communication with Him, you have a relationship. The critical thing in spirituality is relationship. So when the relationship is right, at the right moment, at the right time, knowledge will be given. So don't just seek for knowledge, seek for the relationship of God so that the right knowledge comes to you at the right place, at the right time to settle your issues and challenges.
Saram Uncle, a quick question. Sometimes, in life we're surrounded by people or some situations that we have where these same teachings from the Gita or from Swami aren't applied. People have different beliefs. And so how can we still follow our dharma without being, without falling into the trap of these other people's situations or beliefs?
No. In this world, everybody has got a right to live in this world, and everybody has the right to have their own belief. There's nobody who says that it has to be this belief or that belief. If this is your belief, you believe it in this way. If I believe it in my way, I believe it. This is my belief. But the key point in this is that when I'm living in this world, when I'm interacting, there is something called universal laws of peace and happiness. My job in life is to give as much happiness as I can to as many people as I can. There are some people who at this present moment may not be able to receive that love or the light. It doesn't matter. At this moment, I just give what I can give and just carry on with our life. Some people may not do. Some people will accept. But our job is not to be perturbed or affected by those people like who we are dealing with. To be unaffected is the single most quality of a spiritualist. Become detached. Do what you can do, but leave it to the rest. Leave the rest to God. But if you start saying this, my way has to be the right way, and you have to follow, I'll be very hurt because that person will not follow what I'm trying to say. See, for example, I spent from 9:30 this morning 1.5 hours. I'm spending time with you, and my time now is almost 12 midnight. I'm with you, and I'm very happy to be with you. I'm very peaceful with you. But will everybody accept? Maybe most of you might, maybe one or two might not. But that should not affect me. I just do my best part. I just do whatever I can to the best of my ability, and pray to God that everybody gets the right message. That's it. That's all I can do, isn't it? But supposing I must put an examination and make sure that you have received 100% of the whatever I thought, then then I might be asking for trouble. Yeah.
Saram Uncle, my question is, how can the practice of devotion help us lead a good life?
Yeah. So when you are praying, and let's say Gopala Radhalola Murali Lola Nandalala. So I see Krishna in front, and I see Krishna's flute, and I see his feather, the blue feather, and I'm totally visualizing him. So when I'm visualizing him in that whole moment, I don't see anything else. I'm developing my creative visualization. I'm developing my concentration. And when my heart is feeling full of love, I'm increasing my consciousness. I am changing my aura. I'm refining my thoughts. You see, so many things is happening when I'm singing. That's why Baba said, Hari Bhajan Bina Sukha Shanti Nahi. Baba said that. Why? Because when you're clapping your hands, I'm invoking what? I'm invoking my musical intelligence. And that musical intelligence will invoke my other 6 other intelligences in me. So unknowingly, a whole load of processes is going on in my life. When all this is going on within me, I am actually, the bhajans is actually preparing me for something higher, something greater, something bigger. So when I continuously expand my devotion, I'll find that I will be able to channel my devotion, the same devotion, to work. I am also devoted to work. I'm also devoted to my children. I'm also the same strength and devotion I devote to everything else in the same manner, and enjoy the bliss and happiness in what I have right at the bhajan hall. This is what it must mean. That means when I get up from the bhajan hall, when I'm traveling out, I should have the same feeling of happiness and bliss wherever I go, whoever I meet with. Then this bhajan achieves my purpose. And this devotion helps me to develop that. It's like a gymnasium. If you go to the gym and keep on exercising, the muscles develop. Like that, the devotion helps you to develop the muscles of your heart in order for it to vibrate with greater frequency of love and peace.
Sairam, uncle, we are told many times that we should not worry about the result, but just do our best. For example, to get into a good high school program or university program, we have to get good grades. So if we don't aim for good grades, how can we achieve our goals?
Yeah. So whenever you work, whenever you study for 100%. You don't do it this way, like what I did. Whenever I work or do, I don't even do for 100%. I do it for Swami. Bhagavan, this experiment, this must be good. Bhagavan, this is so. When you're doing it for God, you want it to be the best. You want it to be the highest. You want it to be the most noblest. So when you exert effort to please God, you don't have to worry whether you get the right marks or the wrong marks, whatever is it. When we are dedicating to God and doing it for God, you will be taken to the final destination of victory. You don't have to worry. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be through that college that you spoke about, but it can be through some ways in means in which you finally reach your success. So the point is, end destination is for sure yours. But the journey is something that one has to understand. It will happen according to whatever the circumstances is. But in every moment, you have dedicated your time and action to God. That is what you should do. So when you start working, oh God, this is for you. When you finish studying, oh Lord, this is for you. Study as if you're pleasing God. And then imagine if you're going to take these results and show to Swami, how will you be showing into Bhagavan? With a lot of pride, with a lot of happiness, with a lot of joy. That is the attitude you should be having for everything that you do in your life.
Saram, uncle, you mentioned that effort is proportionate to God's grace.
Great.
So what do you do if you put in your side of the effort, but you don't get God's grace or the result?
Yeah. Effort, when you exert effort, it is not our job to not measure the grace. What we do is we just keep on exerting effort. You don't have to worry at all about the result. Just keep on doing. Zoop, one day it will happen. So it all will depend. See, when you plant plant, and then later after 1 year, I come and ask you, what happened to the plant? Oh, it doesn't grow. What happened? What did you do? I took out every day. I take out and see whether it's growing or not. So I plow the thing and take it out. How will the seed grow? You have to plant it and allow it to grow. Water it. After 2-3 months, it will just grow by itself. So like that, grace is like that. It will just be bestowed upon us, and it will come at the right time, at the right place. But we continue to exert effort. Like for example, seva. Like for example, see, look at the teachers. You ask the teacher doing dedicated work, right? Ask them and see in their own life. If I were you, I'll interview the teachers and say, you came here, you started teaching all of us for so long. What has happened in your life? Ask them and see. You'll find a lot of wonderful experiences they will tell. But they're not doing this teaching for the experience, but as a result of this teaching, a lot of grace comes in as well. So like that, grace will come into our life at the right time, at the right place when He wills it. But our job is to keep exerting. Make sense?
The question, students? If we have time, can we ask if any other audience members have any questions on the brothers, sisters, anyone? Yeah, we have one question here. One second.
Saram, brother. Saram, uncle. I just had a question. Because, of course, we know you yourself are a doctor. You have a lot of experience in the field. I was just wondering, as someone who is pursuing that field, how do you reconcile, how do you reconcile your faith with people who in that field in science might try to disregard these sort of things as, if you're in science, you can't pursue faith as in like, there's no, logic in faith and religion and all of that.
In fact, science is now bending to faith. If you look at this cancer remission. They did a study on 300 cancer patients who positively came out of cancer. This is what they call spontaneous remission. So they had a book called Spontaneous Remission, and they studied the 300 people and discovered why did they manage to come out of the cancer. And they found out that two qualities the people had. Number one, they had perseverance. Number two, they had willpower. People with perseverance and willpower comes out of a disease, and they publish that particular word. What is perseverance? Those are qualities, those are attitude, those are developed from consciousness. Mind, body. Today, whatever diseases that we have is linked to body-mind complex. And whatever the mind is doing is affecting the body. Today's diseases are largely contributed by issues of the mind. So the science is now bending towards faith. And people who have faith, or people who have and in fact, if you look at alternative medicine, the whole field of alternative medicine has grown to such a large proportion. You all have absolutely amazing results that has come about. The only thing with alternative medicine is they don't do the research as how the normal allopathic medicine does. But actually, I always help them, also encourage them to do that, the kind of medicines, the drug trials or research studies, conforming to the same kind of approach that allopathic medicine does. And they'll find the same results. It's all about energy. It's all about the kind of fields that you create among yourselves to create positivity. So very critical and very important. That's why Bhagavad Gita reading is also healing. You do a lot of healing. When you keep on reading, analyzing, like for example, our scriptural study release, Om Bhagavan Sri Satyasai Bhabaya Namaha. If you keep on reciting that name and understanding the implication of the name, it has got a very powerful healing quality that comes onto you. And if you keep on doing that, that's beautiful. That's what the results will be. I want to ask the students, I spoke that, was it useful? I want the feedback. I mean, whatever that I said about the Gita, was it useful or did it resonate with you, something that makes sense to you?
Answer. Yes.
Wow, that's a very loud yes.
Yes, Sairama, uncle. The presentation and like how each question had its own meaning, and it was really interesting to see that many people have different perspectives, but you also got to collaborate in unity. As I asked you the question about how do you collaborate with unity, you said like the entire Bhagavad Gita is like a sugarcane. Sugarcane is basically, you eat it, it's basically sweet. So the part where I liked where you had like knowledge is power, and how the different pictures and video represented the different stuff made me actually understand the true meaning of Bhagavad Gita and its purpose for the humanity. Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Sairam, everyone. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami. A warm welcome to every one of you, and thank you for joining us at our extra special study circle this morning. Uncle Suresh, a huge and heartfelt thank you to you. For taking the time today, especially with the time difference, to share with us your entertaining and extremely insightful and thought-provoking wisdom on the Gita. We can't wait to have you back in Toronto. I'm certain and hopeful that this light-hearted yet impactful discussion has sparked much interest in all of us, and especially in our SSE students. The Bhagavad Gita literally translates to the Song of God, and your rendition this morning was beautiful, with bhava, raga, and tala all in unison. Swami has said that every task undertaken has to be a combination of these three, and Uncle Suresh, your immense knowledge, coupled with an infectious love for Swami and the Gita, dosed with a few dashes of humor, has certainly made for a beautiful and profound Song of God this morning. Thank you. You have practically illustrated how this age-old dialogue between best friends still has so much bearing on our lives today, at a time where many of us, especially as children or young adults, may question its relevance. You have reminded us, in a pleasant yet purposeful manner, that the agony which overcomes Arjuna is not confined to him or the Kurukshetra battlefield, where the forces of good and evil are well defined. This agony runs through all of us and can only be solved if we, just like Arjuna, surrender to our dear Lord. Again, a huge thank you. And finally, to our SSE students and others who may be learning about the Gita, Uncle Kasturi says at the beginning of Gita Vahini, let us listen to these words with as much care and concentration as Arjuna had, even in the turmoil of a battlefield, as we too will declare when the book nears its final pages, my delusion is dissolved. I have become aware of my reality, which is God. May the faith with which you have started to scan these pages grow from day to day. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you everyone for coming. The Vedas chanting will start now, followed by satsang. We request all of you to attend both. Sai Ram.